Well, good evening, everyone. We're so happy that you were able to join us here at St. James at Encore for this program this evening, where we're going to be celebrating the musical legacy of black people here in Tampa, Florida. This is called Twistin Down Central, a legacy to Tampa's black music legends. And so we have some legends here in person this evening. We also have some that we're going to bring to you by means of our AV equipment. And we're also going to have a live band performance. So we've got a lot of exciting things planned this evening over the next couple of hours. I do want to acknowledge, first of all, the support of the Tampa Bay History Center. Our president and CEO, C.J. Roberts, is here with us, sitting up front. We have staff all over the building who are here to assist you this evening. And this partnership is with the Tampa Housing Authority. We have anyone here from the Housing Authority yet? I know there's some folk on the way, and so we'll greet them when they arrive. As you know, this is Encore, this beautiful development. It's been here for several years. This activity space has been newly activated, and this is actually the third program that's been held here this year. There was an earlier program that the Tampa Housing Authority had in partnership with Congresswoman Kathy Castor, and then recently we had the first program here that the Tampa Bay History Center coordinated, and tonight is our second program that we've put together, and on October 6th will be the third program that the Tampa Bay History Center is going to be sponsoring here at St. James at Encore. So go to the Tampa Bay History Center website. Of course, you're always welcome to become a member of the Tampa Bay History Center, and that way you can keep up with all of the activities that we're involved in. And so we're going to have a lot of fun this evening. We're also going to learn a lot about one of my favorite subjects, and that is music, and in particular the music of black people who came here many, many years ago. And as you know, we're just a few steps away from the site of the historic Central Avenue, where a lot was always going on. And this is a Friday evening, so a few years ago, this is somewhere you would want to be on Central Avenue on Friday evening. So let me just again welcome you here. We want to begin by saying also that we have a survey. And if you have not had an opportunity to complete the survey, if you'll see Ms. Ashley at the back, Ashley Morrow, and our History Center staff, we have several people who have the surveys. It takes about a minute or two to complete the survey. And we're asking for your input as to what you'd like to see happen in this space by way of a Black History Museum, by way of the types of exhibits that you'd like to see here, the types of activities. This is a plan that we are working on this year that we hope to implement in the near future. And so we want your input. You can also go to our website and complete the survey if you don't get a chance tonight. But we really like for those of you who are here to do the survey before you leave. It only takes a minute. And again, we've got a lot of folk who can assist you in doing that. So do we have any elected officials here as of yet? Okay. If some arrive, we will acknowledge them at some point this evening. So one of the things that we wanted to do is because, again, we're celebrating the musical legacy of Central Avenue, is to bring some of those legends alive tonight. By the way, my name is Fred Hearns. I'm the Black History Curator at the Tampa Bay History Center. And this is one of our projects, St. James at Encore. So we have a video that's about 10 minutes, and you're going to, I believe, see some familiar faces. And for those of you who may not be familiar with some of these legends, tonight, let me introduce them to you. Very quickly, I'm going to go down the list before we show the video, and the screen is right here. Who's heard of Tampa Red? Who's ever heard that name before? Okay, a few people. So tonight you're all going to be introduced to Tampa Red. Hudson Whitaker was his real name, and he went by Tampa Red. He had a very light complexion, and he lived in Tampa. But he really made a name for himself when he moved to Chicago in the late 1920s, and you're going to see a piece produced in 1928. It was a #1 hit, #1 blues hit. You'll see him singing Tight Like That. No reaction? Okay. Tampa Red, Tight Like That. We also know that he had an album, and I love this title, Don't Tamper with the Blues. TAMPA, Don't Tamper with the Blues. One of the partners who he worked with was Georgia Tom, who also went by the name Thomas Dorsey. That was his birth name. Some of you may be familiar with the spirituals that Thomas Dorsey wrote, including Precious Lord, Take My Hand, one of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's favorite hymns, and a song that many people still sing today in the church, and a favorite song of many people during the civil rights struggles of the 1960s. Second, you're going to hear a woman who was absolutely phenomenal. I'm sorry I never had an opportunity to see her perform in person, but, and right on cue, Mr. Ryans is here. We want to thank and acknowledge the Tampa Housing Authority for naming a building here for this woman, the Ella Fitzgerald. You're going to hear her sing just a little bit of a song titled Cottontail from 1956. And what she's doing in this record, some of you, especially young folk, maybe you've never heard it before, called scat singing. And she was a pro at scat singing. You're going to see the saxophone player doing all he can to try to keep up with her. And it's really amazing. So we're going to show that clip. Then, of course, Ray Charles Robinson, who lived in Tampa for about 2 years during the late 1940s, a couple of different addresses. This is his autobiography, Brother Ray. And I'm going to read just a few passages. I think it's important because, as I was saying to some folk earlier this evening, Ray lived all over the United States during his lifetime. In this autobiography, he only listed one address that left an impression on him, 813 Short Emory Street in the Scrub in Tampa. And he wrote about it because that's where he made his very first record, 2 blocks away from where you're sitting right now. There is a chapter in this book titled Flopping Round Tampa. Flopping Round Tampa. Ray said, I started out in a flop house. I met a guitarist, Gossati McGee, who became a friend of mine. Gossati introduced me to 2 women, sisters who lived together in a little stucco house at 813 Short Emory Avenue. Freddie, the older sister, was a teacher. She was also Gossati's girlfriend. Her younger sister, Lydia, was a scatterbrain like me, young, silly, and crazy. Of course, I was delighted when they invited me to come and rent a room with them. And what really made it even better was there was a piano sitting in the living room. And Ray bought a very inexpensive tape recorder. He set it on top of that piano, and he wrote the words to a song titled The St. Pete Blues. I'll explain that. I found my baby there. And you can actually Google the St. Pete Blues, and you can hear Ray singing that song. He titled it St. Pete Blues, and he explained, even though he wrote it in Tampa, because he said he wanted everybody to buy his records. Even as a teenager, he was thinking, you know, big. And he said, a lot of white folk up north don't know where Tampa is, but they've been to the beaches. They know where St. Petersburg is. That's why he named it St. Pete Blues. So we're going to show a little bit of Ray Charles performing. By the way, Ray had 12 children. His first child was a girl, Evelyn. born here in Tampa, attended George S. Middleton High School. Yay, there's a tiger back there. He graduated in 1967 along with Willie Robinson, who was the last owner-occupant of the Jackson House. They were high school classmates. And so at this time, before I go any further, I don't want to continue until I acknowledge someone who is a friend and who I'm looking to do some really magnificent things in this neighborhood as well as throughout the city of Tampa. One of our newest members of Tampa City Council, Ms. Gwendolyn Henderson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, also on the video, we're going to see someone who history has sort of forgotten. But once again, the Tampa Housing Authority didn't forget him. We have a street here named for Hank Ballard. Hank Ballard's birth name was John Henry Kendricks, born in Detroit. And the reason that we have a street named for him here at Encore is that Hank Ballard, like many entertainers in the 1940s, 50s, 60s who came to Tampa, were traveling on the Chitlin Circuit. Everybody knows what the Chitlin Circuit was, right? That's where you had restaurants that served chitlins, always near the nightclubs, the venues where music was played. And so on one particular visit here, now this is according to Jack Harris. How many of you know Jack Harris, the radio personality? Jack Harris told me the story, and many other people, of how he met over the phone Hank Ballard and had planned to do an interview with him. And unfortunately, Hank passed before he could do that interview. But Hank told Jack the story of how he visited Tampa, saw these kids doing this dance on Central Avenue. He asked them what it was and said, it's something we made up, we just call it the Twist. Hank Ballard went back to his studio in the late 1950s, wrote the record, the exact words that you've heard Chubby Checker sang a million times. But Chubby made all the money, got all the fame, but Hank did get a street named for him here at Encore. So we have Hank Ballard Street here at Encore, and so the Twist, as you all know, was the #1 record all over the world during the 1960s. Cannonball Adderley, who's heard that name before? Cannonball Adderley, born in Tampa, along with his brother Nat Adderley. Their father later on took a job at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, so the family moved to Tallahassee. Rattlers, okay. Ms. Henderson. But we know that this man was a giant in his field as a jazz musician. They both were, but especially Cannonball. 1965, he had a #1 record that was #1 in many countries all over the world. And you're going to hear him sing just a little bit of it. Actually, he plays and he repeats the words. The name of the song, anybody know? Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Very simple, brilliant jazz tune. This next young lady we lost 10 years ago. September will be 10 years. Zalema Casal. Zalema Casal grew up in West Tampa, graduated from Blake High School, founded a group called Faith, Hope, and Charity. And we're also going to feature the group Faith, Hope, and Charity. After they moved to New York, Zalema began a solo career. You're going to hear a little bit of her singing a song that she accompanies herself on the piano. Zalema wrote for Aretha Franklin, sang backup for Aretha, appeared on Soul Train, traveled all over the world, did a lot of amazing things, and we don't want to forget her contribution to the music scene, along with the group Faith, Hope, and Charity. Albert Bailey, who we only lost a few years ago, and Brenda Hilliard, who's still living in New York, and I think is still doing session work from time to time. Faith, Hope, and Charity. I put another guy in here. He wasn't born in Tampa, never really lived here, but Faith, Hope, and Charity worked with him, and they sang backup on some of the records that he made. Any Temptation fans here? Okay, are you also David Ruffin fans? So David Ruffin, after he left the Temps, had one #1 record, Walk Away from Love. I always loved that record, and I didn't really know why, other than it was a great record, but I didn't realize that Brenda and Abbott were singing backup on that record. And so we also know that they sang backup on a #1 record that you still hear from time to time. At least once a month I hear it, The Hustle. Van McCoy, who wrote The Hustle, the producer, used Faith, Hope, and Charity on several of his albums and records before he died much too young. So Faith, Hope, and Charity, and David Ruffin. And then last but certainly not least, something for the younger folk who love rap, Gregory Edward Jacobs. Lorenzo Reed, who was Gregory Jacobs? Shock G, the rapper, who introduced Tupac Shakur to the world in Oakland, California, with a group called Digital Underground. The very first rap video Tupac ever appeared in was with this young man who attended school with Mr. Reed here, elementary school in Tampa, attended Chamberlain High School, Gregory Edwards, and he died, Jacobs, and he died about 2 years ago, and he's buried here in Tampa. Shock G, also known as Humpty Hump. Anybody heard that record before? So we're going to show the video now, Mickey, and I don't know if we need to kill any lights, but let's start the video, and then we'll bring our panel up.
Woke up this morning about to break out day, lay my head on the pillow, baby's laying on it's tight like that, tight like that, baby, but it's good, honey, and it's tight like that. And Jane had a boy, his name was Snow, broke all the locks off the hen house door, tight like that, tight like that, baby, but it's good, honey, and it's tight like that. Poor little spider going up the wall, he's going up there to get his ashes all, tight like that, tight like that, baby, but it's good, honey, and it's tight like that. Mama and Papa down in the cell, what you doing down there is awful hard to tell. Tight like that, tight like that, baby, but it's good, honey, and it's tight like that.
That cottontail.
It's only because I've got a woman overtime. Good, yeah. I got a woman overtime. Good to me, yeah. She give me money I need. Well, she's the kind of friend in need. I've got a woman overtime. Good, oh yes, yeah.
Right now, we'd like to get our journey to the sun underway by presenting to you a very beautiful, very talented, very versatile sister, Zulema.
I will place at your feet all that I own. You've been so good to me. This world were mine, I'd give you the flowers, the birds and the bees, for with your love beside me, that'll be all I need. If this world were mine,
not that I don't love you. You know how much I do. And it's not that I found someone to take the place of you. It's just a fear that builds within me every time you touch my hand. And a dread that shakes my body that even I don't understand.
Humpty Hump, here a hump, there a hump, everywhere Humpty Hump.
Shut up and just listen, not dissing, don't get me wrong. But to me it's just the same old song, so just watch. Cause my name is Shock, I like to rock and you can't stop this. Tupac, go ahead and rock this.
Now I clown around when I hang around with the underground. Girls used to frown, say I'm down when I come around.
I think that probably brought back a lot of memories for you all. And so we wanted to just share some of these moments with you. And there are many other musical legends who've come this way, but I think these folk deserve some special recognition. So for the rest of the evening, we're going to have a panel discussion and a live performance by some gentlemen. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves after our panel discussion. We're going to probably go on until, let's see what time it is. 6:29, okay. So we've got about 45 minutes for the panel discussion. And first of all, I'd like to introduce to you someone who maybe you've heard the name before, maybe you've heard her perform before, maybe you would like to hear her talk about her memories, which go back, and first time I heard the name Kitty Daniels was from Coach William Bethel. Anybody ever heard that name before, William Bethel? Football coach, basketball coach at Middleton High School for many, many years. And he, on the side, he was a man of many talents. And he used to sing different places. And he always used to talk about Kitty. Kitty this and Kitty that, and I'm going to meet Kitty, and Kitty's going to. And so finally I got to meet Kitty. And so this evening we're going to introduce and present her to you. I'm going to ask her to come up and have a seat. Ms. Kitty Daniels, please give her a hand. This is a panel. And hopefully that chair will work for you. The next panel member is someone who I've known since 7th grade when I was in his band at Booker T. Washington Junior High School. He was band director there. He can tell you everything you want to know about Central Avenue and then some. The musicians, the people who came this way, people who he knew. He also lived in Chicago, and someone who has a lot of knowledge about a lot of things. This evening we asked him to come and sit on the panel and talk about his memories of black people and music in Tampa. So nice warm hand, if you will, for Mr. Willie Dixon. Reverend Willie Dixon. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And where's Andre? Where's Andre? Is he in the building? Okay, he's coming up from the back. This gentleman, again, I've known for many, many years, and I'm going to ask each one of them once he comes up to give you a little information about his background, his introduction to music, and then you're going to hear him perform later on this evening. Mr. Andre Walker. Later on this evening, you're going to hear some comments from a young lady, and she's going to express herself in her own way. And we, are pleased that she's here with us this evening. I'm going to let her finish that story. Miss Belinda Womack, please stand up. So, Andre, just a minute or two, if you would, about how you introduced the music and what you're doing now.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I was born and raised here, right down the street, Harrison Avenue, 1154 Harrison Avenue, Central Park Village Housing Project. I was born in Clarify Hospital, born originally from Tampa, Florida. I am now 69 years old, and I can look at these two individuals that are sitting next to me. These lights are about to blind us. And I remember Mr. Dixon when I lived off of Maryland Avenue, and he was the band director at Booker T. Washington, and he didn't know I used to be just sit back watching him because I love music from a little kid. Now, and so this is just an honor to be sitting next to these two dignitaries here. You make me feel so good. And I remember that little white building used to sit out in the back of Booker T. Washington School where the band room was. And I was a little kid that used to just sit over there and watch. I'll never forget, I saw Les Miller as a drum major over there many, many years ago with the big head and a little body, okay? And you can tell him I said it. And then Miss Kitty Daniels is sitting right next to me. All my life I've known her. My Aunt Lucille Hall and Kitty Daniels were friends. They were girlfriends growing up. And my mom, Mozella Walker, they all were friends. And Kitty's son, Keith he and I formed a band at Middleton High School in 1969-70, and we started playing music then, and it was called the Mighty Good and Strong Band. Nelson Griffith was our manager. From there, we went on. We finished we were victims of desegregation. They closed Middleton High School down my senior year, and I ended up at Lato High School. I graduated from Lato High School, and we played music. We just played music. Nelson Griffith, he just took us. He was like the mentor program that they have now for young men, and he took us and he says, I'm going to teach y'all to play music, and I want y'all to get out there and make some money. And so that's what we did from like my 9th grade year on. I played in the band on the weekends, and it also took me right on to FAMU. I marched in the band at FAMU, as a trumpet player at FAMU. I'm a rattler, yes. Yes, and it was during that time that my senior year in high school, I got drafted into the military, and I was headed to Vietnam because I was classified 1A. And Nelson Griffith said, I went to him and said, Nelson, please help me. And he said, I got you. He took me, Gigi, his brother Gigi, and Chuck, and he took us to Tallahassee. We auditioned for Dr. William P. Foster. And Dr. Foster gave us, I want to call it, a furlough-like type thing where they extended it 4 years. Instead of me going in right then, I went in 4 years later. I would go in and the United States government, they said, okay, we'll accept this because instead of coming in as a private, I'll be going in as a second lieutenant with a college degree, graduating from FAMU. But during that time, the Vietnam War ended, and so I was lucky. So I don't know if I was blessed or not, but I missed out on that. But from that point on, I started going out on the road, and Kitty Daniels introduced me to Sax Carey. Sax Carey took us, the whole band, 8 guys, took us to Miami, Florida, introduced us to Stephen Lamo and Henry Stone. And Henry Stone, if you don't know, he was the man behind Betty Wright, Lil Beaver, all of those people, the group Foxy, and on and on and on and on and on. And we got our first record deal, and that was in 1977. 76, 77.
And we're going to pick up the story a little later on.
Okay, all right. I'm talking too much. Okay, moving on.
That was all right. Miss Kitty, how were you introduced to music, and what are you doing today in that field?
Well, I'm playing at Donatello on Del Mabry 4 nights a week, Monday through Thursday nights. I start about 7:30 if anybody wants to know. And I'm there until they close. I'm there until the place closes, Monday through Thursday.
And how were you introduced to music?
How was I introduced to music?
Yes.
Oh, you really want to know that? Well, I was quite young, and people have said I was not even 1 year old yet. Yeah, my brother and people in my family have said that. My mom was sitting at the piano in our house, and I was sitting on her lap, and they recognized while they were talking.
Hold the mic up, please.
Playing the same thing.
Hold the mic up, please. Hold the mic up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not used to microphones, not used to holding my microphone. Well, I kept playing the same thing with one finger, and they recognized this song as the theme song to a radio show called We the People. We the People. And somebody mentioned it to my mom and said, Valerie, that song that baby is playing sounds just like the song on We the People. And I started playing by ear. As I grew, they realized that I could play whatever I heard with one finger or whatever when the piano was there, you know. So that went on till I was about 6 years old. playing any song I heard. And then my mom got me a piano teacher. And I fooled the people in the lesson room where this lady had about 6 or 7 kids learning piano out of different grade books, first grade, second grade. It was the John Thompson method piano lesson book you might have heard of. But when one child would get up and play the lesson, or when it was my time to play it, I played.
Hold the mic up, please. We're recording. Miss Kitty, hold the mic up. We're recording this. Hold the mic up to your mouth.
Oh, you can't hear me? I thought I was loud. Okay. Well, I was playing songs that I heard up until I was about 6, and then my mom got me a piano teacher. She went to work for a company called Arthur Smith Music Company. She went to work at their house and got a piano from their place for me. And I learned how to play. I could play anything I heard by ear, but I fooled them for a long time that I was reading music, and I wasn't reading music. You know, I was just playing the lessons that the other kids played until finally a lady from the church came to our house and said she put one of the church songs in the book on the piano for me to play. And I played it, but I played it in a different key. And the lady said, well, Viola, this child is transposing. That's when they found out that I wasn't reading. I was playing by ear. So I went to school, of course, and in high school, I got in the band, and I had to play clarinet, and I played glockenspiel, and I had to learn how to read. Mr. Rodriguez, Prof. Rodriguez, Michael Rodriguez made sure I learned to read. But I read music now, and I've even taught piano since then. But that's how I was introduced to music.
Thank you very much. Give her a hand.
Thank you.
Reverend Dixon, same question. How were you introduced to music, and you doing anything in music these days?
First of all, I want to greet everyone here for coming out to learn more about music. In baseball, I would be called a pinch hitter. I'm not supposed to be here. Miss Walmack was supposed to be here in this seat. So she heard I was going to be here, so she got healed. But nevertheless, one thing I want to say, how did I get attuned to music? You know, music is a part of our heritage. And, you know, as I was sitting here, I'm more of a music teacher than a musician. There's a difference. And I studied music and music therapy. And the question came to me, what is music? What is music? What is the definition of music? Somebody tell me, what is that?
Anybody?
Okay, the equal vibration of sounds. Noise is the unequal vibration of sounds. See, music started in the beginning of creation, when the wind would blow and blow against the trees, and when it blow against the rocks, you would hear nature coming out with a tune. And we as a people, we survive because of music. You heard Cannonball. I thought he was gonna play "Wade in the Water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water." Do you know what they're talking about? What were they talking about? Well, anyway, they thought we were having a good time, but Johnny getting ready to escape. He's going by water. See, this is how we would communicate, through music. And they would sit back and say, oh, listen to them darkies. But they didn't know we were talking through music. And because they didn't understand it. So we had a way to communicate with one another so that we can talk to one another. And how did I get involved with music? I guess when I went to Chicago, that's when I met a lot of musicians and I studied music. I didn't, the funny thing about it is, I went to a technical school, but I was around a lot of musicians. And at that time, I was younger, much younger, 91 now. All
right.
And I get confused with the other Willie Dixon from Chicago. I'm the living Willie Dixon, he dead. But what it is I had a chance to meet a lot of musicians. And while I was in Chicago, Sonny Stitz, Gene Ammons, and the only person close to Gene Ammons with sound was Calhoun. Calhoun had the largest sound there is. But so, when I came back to Tampa, I don't know why I became a band director. It dawned on me, they only have one band director in the school, in every school. And you had to be good. And so, that's one of my star students right there. The first time he came on Central Avenue, we played for a tea. Do you remember that, Fred? So, music is a universal language. We can bring people together through music. If everyone that loved music, loved people like they love music, what a world this would be. Huh? You know, and we had Sam Cooke came through here. And a lot of musicians came through here as gospel singers. But when the system came up with a way that you could make money, most of the gospel singers became jazz singers or blues singers. Because it's the same cause, is that right? They're the same cause. Sam Cooke came through here with the Soul Sirs. How many of you remember? See, I stayed up with Fred called me last night I was minding my own business sitting at the table. I stayed up until 1:30 getting some names because I didn't know the format. But anyway, how many of you remember Cotton Kirk? Cotton Kirk? Charlie Bradley? Huh? Remember Jolly? What was his favorite song?
Clarence Jolly. Song called Moving On.
Moving On. That was Jolly. And then we had Thin Man. Yeah. And Ella came through here, and the Supremes came through. That's the first time I found out about wigs. I saw them come in there with that Fort Hesley Armory. I saw them come out with short hair, long hair. Guess what? I started selling wigs because I made money selling wigs. But we had a lot of people to come through here. What about Bob Jackson? How many remember Bob Jackson?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
How many of you remember when Leon Claxton came through? Harlem in Havana. So he had a lot of musicians.
So Brother Dixon, we're going to get back to your list. That's a good list. We got a little bit of time. If I can, I want to get back to Andre for just a minute, and we're going to come back to you. Everybody's going to have another opportunity. The music today, I have to confess, and maybe it's because I don't follow it the way I should, most of these folk I never heard of before. And I think about the people that we saw in that video, and I think about what we hear today. What's the biggest difference?
Music back in the old days was about a feeling. It was about a life. It was what you were into. You really felt it. The music today now is more technology. more trendy, whatever the young people, sometimes I say this, I'm a former high school teacher, and I say they sell their souls to the devil just to make $1, and they'll do it. They'll make a song about anything. They can look on the floor and say, that rug right there, that man, and we won't get into it, but that's what it was all about. As a kid, growing up in Central Park Village and being able to walk right up Central Avenue and see guys like Charlie Bradley, like you said, and Bob Jackson and all of them. I never forget, I helped B.B. King as a kid unload they had those station wagons. They didn't have vans then. And we unloaded in the back in the club upstairs, and they let me sit in there and watch it. And listen to it. Back then, I knew as 7, 8 years old that I was going to be a musician. I wanted to be a musician. So to answer your question, it's all about technology now, and it's more some people. There's a small group that still write about feelings and life and what's going on. And right now, with everything that's going on with us, we got a lot to write about, right? So that's what, in the old days, like you said, when he said about Wade in the Water, and there were a lot of other songs that Cannonball Adderley did, like the work song. They forgot the work song. Dun, 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 dun. I heard your band play that. And it was about going to work, mentally getting yourself ready to do what you had to do each day. These kids now, they have their phones. They take the music, they take a sample, a two-measure sample, and they just loop it over and over again, and they just make up stuff, and then it's like, oh, that's dope. That's like, and they used to look at me and say, Mr. Walker, you are so behind the time. And I used to look at them and say, if they only knew. So to answer your question, it's more the technology. Technology has taken over, and the difference between when we were children to now. Because when I first time I saw Family Band march down Central Avenue, oh my God, I about lost my mind. I got up and I actually marched behind the band. When I saw Dr. Foster come around that corner, I had never seen that tall, light-skinned man. He almost looked like he was a white person. And he was marching with the band, and the spirit just came all over me. And my mom, they were looking for me later on because we ended up right here at Meacham Elementary School, because during that time, the band could not stay in the hotel or the motels. They stayed at Meacham Elementary School, and they had these little carts. And how I know, because they let me stay there with them, and I'll never forget. And to see them marching, and I came marching behind them, and I was sweating, and my mom was like, I can't believe that boy, but because it was a feeling. It was something about that just came over me. So now when I hear music now, I just go, oh, that was nice, So answer your question.
Big difference. I'm going to move to Ms. Kitty with the same question, but you reminded me first, Andre, of something when you talked about seeing the band marching and staying at Meacham Elementary School. During the days of segregation, for those of you who may not be aware of this, when bands would travel, high school bands, there were no hotels. Where did we stay? We stayed in people's homes. You stayed in the homes of strangers. If you went to Miami or you went to Tallahassee or Gainesville or wherever, there would be people waiting at the school and say, I'll take that young man, and I'll take that young man, I'll take that young lady. And you went home with those people who you didn't know and stayed with them until the next day for the parade or whatever. And I don't remember any problems. There's no way you could do that today. But Ms. Kitty, same question. The music when you started, the music today, are there differences, and what are the differences? The music when you started out and the music we hear today. And I guess I'm talking about on the radio.
I'm afraid I didn't understand the question.
Okay, when you were playing music, when you started, or maybe say when you were playing for Coach Bethel, do you see a difference in the music then and the music that's popular today? And what is the difference?
Okay, I find that the music then told a story. I think there's a little too much reverb on these microphones, and it makes it very hard to. There's reverb.
That's the only reason we asked.
Somebody would turn the reverb off while we're talking.
Okay.
You could.
I don't know how to do that, but can you all help back there?
But the music then told stories, and now the music is more about the beat and getting people to move. But back then, those songs were written in mostly 16 bars or so, and they were written so that you had the first 8 bars or something, the next 8 bars, and the third one was a bridge, and the next would take the song out. But it told a complete story, most of those songs then. And now, most of the songs now don't necessarily, you don't know when to end them. They don't sound like they're ending. When they, you know, really, it's a difference. There is a difference.
Reverend Dixon. Yes, sir.
I know today I find that they use, as they call it, a beat. They got what they call a beat, and they synthesize. But back there when we were playing and singing, it was more of human. Music now is not, it's more technology. Because, you know, we had that song, we used to sing, play, I think it was Hallelujah. And I used to tell them, I said, look, when we play, there's a part that I said, I want you to make the people happy. And then I said, there's another part, it was some gospels in there. I said, now I want you to make them cry. See, music has a charm that will make you think and feel. And see, they've taken that away. They've taken it away. It's more mechanical than it is dealing with feelings. Because when somebody got hurt by a woman, they would go and create a song. What's the song? Caledonia, what make your big head so hard? Y'all don't know what Louis Jordan, I don't know that. That means you got a hard-headed person, you know, traveling. So songs back then told a story, but there's no story being told today, in my opinion now. My opinion, they're making billions of dollars though. Because what it is, I think people are out of touch with the humanity of human beings. Everything is so technical. So I don't think that they put the human touch to it. I think human touch is gone. And so you need to realize this too. It's what we call soul. There's a difference between when Ray, you mentioned Ray on show. He used to come to town. I used to fix crab enchilada for him. They'd be glad to get some crab enchilada. Y'all know what crab enchilada is, right? Because they didn't get it on the road. But today, it's no real feelings. Johnny Mathis, you know, and Ray Charles, he did not have the same type of voice as Johnny Mathis, but he had soul. And so back then, it was more of a feeling, emotion, but now all of that is gone. It's just rhythm, as they call it, the beat.
Can you quickly mention some of those people you had on that list that you were familiar with?
Well, I have Louis Jordan. He used to come here. Cab Calloway, Lil Willie John, and Lil Willie John. I met him up to the Pyramid Hotel, and I was complaining about being stuck. And Lil Willie John told me, he said, "Brother, let me tell you." He said, "Last year, this was back in the early '60s. He said, I made $50,000 last year, but I'm dead broke." And I don't know what happened, but about 6 months later, he went to prison. He was murdered in prison. But now another, I know Kitty would remember Fletcher. Remember we started Fletcher. Remember we on 22nd and Columbus Drive. We had started like a union for black musicians. So we had to do a lot of things. Manzi Harris and some of the names, Carlton Coleman, he did what? Anybody know what Carlton Coleman was famous for? Mashed potatoes. Y'all remember that? Mashed potatoes? Huh? Well, anyway, he became a preacher. A lot of musicians became preachers too because all of them can sing. And when they go to church, they love to hear singing. But, Thin Man, Bobby Felder, that's how I got the job in Booker Washington. He was a trombone player. He was the first musician at Booker Washington. Then Bertie Sullivan came, she got pregnant, then I got the job.
I know Bobby, he lives in Washington, D.C., and he's still living to this day, and he's still playing trombone. Can you believe that? From Tampa, Florida. It's the names that you're naming, and so many people that he's calling out the names, and I'm sitting there going, and because a lot of the names are like Sax Carey and Fletcher and Bob Jackson and Charles Russell. And Charles Russell and the King. These are all these groups that in Tampa that when I was a kid, see, I had all these people, all these role models to look up to. Kitty Daniels, or, because I don't know if Kitty remember when I went to FAMU, and my first piano class I took, and I came home and I told her, I said, they made me learn this, but I can play. And she said, and I played it at her house on her piano. And she was like, oh, you're doing good. She said, just keep it up. You don't give up. And I was like, this is the hardest thing I ever done was to learn to play piano because I'm a trumpet player, and I play guitar, and when I listened to this name of people like Sax Carey, which was friends with Kitty, and Kitty turned sax on to us, and he taught us so much about life, about, foundation, about saving money. Saxon was the first person that taught me about, baby, everything he said to you was, baby, you got to listen, baby. One of the things, you'll argue with a stop sign, baby, and he would tell you these kind of things, and he would tell you how to save your money, take your money, and do certain things with your money, and then, I was just blessed to be in the right place at the right time for a lot of things, like Leon Claxton, my stepfather used to work out there, and he would take me out there, and I would work and clean up the last day of the fair. They had what they called Colored Day at the fair, which when it used to be down here on North Boulevard, and I used to go there and help do. So I know a lot about music. I'll never forget the first time I ever saw Charles Brown. How many of you know who Charles Brown is? Charles Brown was. Yeah. He was the man that sang, Merry Christmas, baby. You sure did treat me nice. I never forget that. I saw him, and I had never seen a man that pretty in my whole life as a kid. This guy had on a white suit. It was a three-piece suit, and he had like a cape, and he had on spats. He had on white spats and white shoes. And he came out and he started playing, and he sat down and he went to playing, and I was mesmerized. I was like, oh my God. That's when I first got introduced to musicians, dressing nice, entertainers dressing nice and looking good, looking, as we would say, looking like a government check. So when I listened to all this, it kind of makes me tear up here because I know that I went through, and I'm much younger than these two young people here. They're 91. I think Kitty should be right about 90. How do I know that, Kitty? Because my mom, Kitty might be 91. Where are you? 91, 90, 89. Now watch this. How I know this? You know how I know this? Because my mom would have been, if I'm 69, she would have been right at turning, she would have been August 1st, she would have been 90 years old. Okay, and so I can kind of put them together and knowing, and also I also knew Kitty's mom, who also used to make sure that you boys, y'all behave yourself, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and she lived right next door to Kitty on 15th Avenue, and so I've been around, and I've been blessed to be around a lot of music, and Nelson Griffith and Michael Rodriguez that Fred mentioned, he was our band director at Middleton High School. He used to come and pick us up. And we moved from the Central Park Village projects to Ybor City, from Ybor City to Ponce de Leon projects. And he used to come and pick us up to take us to band rehearsal at Middleton High School and everything, and buy the instruments. My mom, I'll never forget when that first time I got a trumpet, it was a cornet. And my mom thought it was just it was a fad. It was a phase he was going through. And my stepdad was like, that old boy don't need to get into music because all the musicians, all they do is do drugs, And the band director called up one day and said, your son is going to be a really good musician. And I felt good about that. And we went down to Arthur Smith's music store, and Arthur Smith, and she finally rented me a trumpet. Wouldn't buy it, rent it. And once I became second chair, first trumpet in my 7th grade year, my mom says, "Oh my God, this boy must be doing something." And we had about 16 trumpet players. And from that point on, I just kept going, and I just kept going, and I listened to the music. So when Fred, it was ironic that Fred asked a question about how the music has changed over the years. And you know, we all know, if you've lived long enough, if you at least 50 years of age, you can tell the difference of the music from the music now and the music from way back when.
We've got maybe about 3 minutes each. If we can talk about who you listen to today and why. I'm just curious as to who you listen to, singers, musicians, bands, groups, individuals. Miss Kitty, can we pass the mic to her? Who do you listen to today and why?
Today I listen to Clifford Brown and maybe John Coltrane, people like that, and well, Sarah Vaughan, my favorite singer. You said, I don't know, but I was told to tell somebody something about Central Avenue because I worked a lot along Central Avenue from the Little Savoy down to the Cotton Club, all those places in between there. Central Avenue was popping, and I listened to Dizzy Gillespie and different people who played here during that time would come down on Central Avenue when they get off from work, and I got to play with them to sing, you know, because there was a piano in the place, and Bob Jackson, who you mentioned, was supposed to be playing for them, but sometimes he'd play the different chord changes that were different from what they were singing. And I'd get out from behind the bar where I was working and go up there and play the songs for these different people. And I got hired to play for Etta James, and I was asked, what's his name, Walker, Jackie Wilson tried to take me on the road with him, and Arthur Prysock, I don't know if you ever heard of him. I ran an arrangement for B.B. King, The Nearness of You. But I still listen to people like them. I opened up for Dizzy Gillespie over in St. Petersburg at the college. Where is that? He played over in St. Petersburg. This was years ago. But I listen to jazz singers and jazz musicians, and I listen to other people too. I listen to good rhythm and blues singers. I listen to people like Belinda.
Well, we appreciate that. We got to have enough time for Andre's band to play, so if we can, Brother Dixon, in about 3 minutes, can you tell me who do you listen to today and why? And I apologize for cutting it off, but we got to hear this band.
Wait a minute. Before I answer that question, make any comments on that, I want you to know that Kitty is the longest running musician in the city of Tampa. She is the longest running musician in the city of Tampa. I mean, continuous musician. You're the longest running musician. Yeah, but I mean, you outlived them, and you outlived them. Just think all of them that you knew that's no longer here. Next to me. But nevertheless, Fred, sad to say, as much as I love music, I really don't listen to music much now. I have other interests. But when I'm feeling down, I go listen to Sonny Stitch, Fathead Newman, David Newman, and my classmate Hank Crawford, because music has a way to make me feel better. But other than that, I do what I do, and I'm not into music now. So that's why I had to stay up at 1 o'clock getting all these names, because I didn't know the format. I didn't know what to expect, but I was going to be prepared for anything that come at me. But I'm glad to see so many people are interested in music. And I still say, music is based upon harmony. If we come together in love and harmony, what a different Tampa would be. And one thing I will say this, most of the bands will come to Tampa, will go to the Cuban Hall patio. Is that right? Yes. How many of you know where the Cuban Hall patio? It's still there. It's still there.
Well, the
but
new
you know what? The Cuban, that's where it's right behind HCC. But we never went inside the Cuban Hall patio. We always had to be outside. But we stayed there until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. But we never went. The first time I went inside the Cuban Hall patio when Val Deming was running for office.
Well, let's give Reverend Dixon and Kitty a big hand. And Andre, you close it out, please. Who do you listen to today and why? We have to close it out, but I want Andre to tell us, who do you listen to today and why?
Okay. First of all, I listen to myself. Everybody, if you go on YouTube, I have to put this in there. I have 2 CDs. Oh, it's one. This is my last CD I put out last year. It's entitled Andre Walker's Springtime. Please go listen to it, and you'll see if you like it or not. Okay. And I have a classmate that's sitting in this room right now, a year younger than me, and I'll never forget, she used to pick on me all the time. I used to try to sing, and she used to say, "Oh, you know you can't sing." So I want to let her know that we're going to play a song tonight just for her. And the name of the song is Blues I Want to Hear, okay? And the reason I want to hear, because it's every day we have the blues. We get the blues, we feel the blues, and on and on and on and on and on and on, okay? So, but one of my favorite singers of all time is truly Peabo Bryson. I love Peabo Bryson. To me, he's one of the most underrated, most gifted singers. The Disney people were smart. They got him, and he sung all those theme songs and everything. And I just love Peabo Bryson as a male singer. Now, as a female singer, I love Aretha Franklin. I love Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight was just Gladys Knight. I just love her to this day. So those are the people. And Ella, you saw the video, and I can't even talk as fast as she was just singing back earlier. Did y'all see that? And I was like, oh my God, And we were back there. The musicians were back there going, yes. Yes. So, and these are the people that we looked up to, the Ray Charles, the Duke Ellington, Count Basie, me as a kid, even James Brown. James Brown played a pivotal part in my life because he taught me how to feel good, in the hot pan. And he taught us how to just get into it. James Brown, guy, I don't even think he finished elementary school, but half the time you couldn't understand what he was saying, but he could talk to that band and he control the band. He said, man, I love you, and everybody be like, yeah, and they was in it, and everybody be, and I was one of those people that.
Dr. Walker, will you come and get your
All
husband,
right,
please?
y'all ready? We ready? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Band members, come to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Belinda Womack is going to say a few words as the band comes forward. Band, would you come up and start setting up, and we'll move these chairs. But can we give Belinda another big hand, and she's going to speak now.
All right, that was a treat. Wasn't it a treat? Let's give them a hand again. First of all, I'd like to thank Andre Walker and his band for being here tonight, because I just spent a little bit of time unexpectedly in the hospital. It was quite a ride, but as you can see, I'm doing okay. Yeah, praise God. I don't look like what I've been through. But it was pretty scary there for me for a little while, but praise God, everything is doing well. I can't do a lot right now, so that's why Andre and his wonderful band, they're taking over. Yes, thank y'all so much. Give them a hand, please. I live here in Encore. I live in that building right there, Tempo building. I love living here in Encore. What I expected was not what I got, though. I remember when the idea of Encore was circulating around, and how they were saying that this was going to be like a music mecca. And so I really expected that there would be musicians like, musicians I've been with. I've been here in Tampa since 1978. And so I've learned a lot of great musicians, from Rose Ballell to Kitty Daniels. Miss Kitty Daniels was the first person that ever gave me a job or let me even sing a song, didn't you? I was pregnant with my son, and I walked into the club, and I sat at her piano. And she looked at me and she said, "You a singer, ain't you?" And I just said, "Yes, ma'am." And she says, "Do you know," I think it was, what was that song? It was, oh man, I used to know it. That's how old I am. I don't remember stuff no more. I mean, after the medicine they put me on yesterday, I don't remember nothing. I'm lucky I remember that this was happening today. Oh, but so Miss Kitty gave me the first opportunity to sing a note in Tampa Bay, and I was really, really grateful to her for that. And I've known and loved her ever since, and supported her ever since. I also support the younger people here in Tampa who are doing amazing music. Some of it might be technologically driven, but I tell you, it has feeling, it has power, and some of it's bringing the old school back, because words are coming back and meaning something again. I am a great fan of rap music. I even go to the hip-hop church, y'all. Yeah. I go to the hip-hop, I go to, that's what they call our church. I go to Crossover Church, and we do lots of music there, especially helping the young people learn. When I taught jazz studies at USF, I remember the new cool jazz was just coming on to the scene. But I didn't poo-poo it. What I did was I embraced it. And look what's come out of Tampa Bay. You have Eric Darius out of Tampa Bay that is doing amazing jazz. And so you have others here from Tampa Bay that's doing amazing music. So everybody has what they like. Everybody has something they like, right? Well, one of the things that drew me to Encore was that it was going to be a music type of thing. And I drove around here, y'all, praying. Y'all hear me? I drove around here praying over an apartment. I was like, Lord, I can't afford to be living out over there. But Lord, I really want to live there because I really want music to happen here, and I really want music to become really central here, and I really want this. I really, really did. But I finally got an apartment here, and it wasn't quite what I thought it would be. But I know that with the History Museum, what's going on, with the love of music that's still around, with the fact that this place is musically themed, named for Ella Fitzgerald. My building is tempo, and I keep the beat up there. My neighbors will tell you. They hear some music coming out of my apartment, and I hear music coming out of other apartments. And if we could get just more people involved, that this area can be not probably what it was when it was back the Central Avenue. Could it be, but it can become Central Avenue music again. So what about it? You guys, let's support when there's music going on around here. I want to encourage, if anybody's here from the Housing Authority, I want to encourage you to make sure that when there's an event going on in the park that's musical or even arts-driven, let the residents know that it's happening, right? So that we can come out and be a part of it, and we can invite all of you out to be a part of it. So I'm blessed to be a part of the Tampa Bay scene here. I am loving the music that's coming out of Tampa Bay, and I'm loving the opportunity to hear the stuff that I grew up with, the blues, the jazz, and working with amazing musicians like Fred Johnson and those that are still around doing music. So thank y'all so much for your support of my music. I appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you, Belinda. Andre Walker's band.
Two. All right. Bring me on up. Come on, can I hear myself in the monitors? Oh, yeah. Now, I just want to tell y'all something. Now, listen to this. How many of y'all recognize this? How many of you recognize this shuffle? Come on. Come on. Okay. I'm going to take you and I'm going to show you a little theory here. All people, the older people, know this is nothing but Route 66. Do you hear that, kitty? Now, watch this. Now, young people, the newer people say, oh, I hear that song. That's Black Draws. You say, what? Black Draws? They got to take it and sell the soul to the devil. But when you hear it, and that's all it is, it's nothing but music. Now, watch. Watch Dash. Dash, come on, Dash. I want you to take it for us. We're going to play it for you, and then we're going to show you the feeling. Here we go. right, all right, all right, all right. Now watch this. From the people that are older than us, the first thing they're going to say, the music is too loud, right? They're going to be like, too loud, too loud. My mom used to say, boy, you always play everything too loud. Now, okay, we all know that this is the old church, and you hear the echo. You know, that's why I stepped out to hear the difference. The music sounds different back here than it does up there. So it's all about, and Kitty told y'all when she said the reverb. Well, this room has a natural reverb in it, and then they have the sound man is putting more reverb on us. So you'll hear what's going on in the different types of music. Now watch, we're gonna play something now. We're gonna do an old, watch this, old Stormy Monday. How many, Kitty, you remember this? Say they called it Stormy Monday, yeah. Said Tuesday just as bad. Said they called it Stormy Monday, yeah. Said Tuesday just as bad. Wednesday's worse. Lordy, Thursday's oh so sad. Said the eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out and I play. Said the eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out and I play. Sunday I go to church, and I get down on my knees and I pray. Say, Lord, have mercy. Say, Lord, have mercy on me. Say, Lord, have mercy. Say, Lord, have mercy on me. Said I've been trying to find my baby. Want someone, please send on home to me. Come on, Dash. The organ, y'all. Said the eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out and I play. Said the eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out and I play. Sunday I go to church and I get down on my knees and I pray. You say, Lord, have mercy. Say, Lord, have mercy on me. Say, Lord, have mercy. Say, Lord, have mercy on me. Said, I've been trying to find my baby. Won't someone please send her home to me? Now watch what the guitar does. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, because we grew up in the Tampa Bay area where there were a lot of Hispanic people, and there were a lot of black people, and there were a lot of every kind of people, so we always, and when I first heard the song, Maria, Maria by Carlos Santana, I just fell in love with that song because the song does what? It describes everything that we're doing and how we're doing it. So right now, let's see if we can try to do our own version of that and make it funky. What do you think? You think we can do it? Let's see if we can do this. Maria, Maria, and she reminds me of West Side Story, growing up in Spanish Harlem. She living a life just like a movie star. Maria, Maria, she fell in love in East LA. Sounds of the guitar, yeah, yeah, played by Carlos Santana. Stop the looting, stop the shooting, pickpocketing on the corner. See the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poorer. See the Maria on the corner, thinking of ways to make it better. In my mailbox, there's an eviction letter. Someone shouted, see you later. A hove and go, mama chula, a hove and go, Maria, Maria. And she reminds me of West Side Story, growing up in Spanish Harlem. She living a life just like a movie star. Maria, Maria, she fell in love in East LA to the sounds of the guitar, yeah, yeah. Play by Carlos Santana. La favela, Los Colores, the streets are getting hotter. They're in the water to put out the fire. Mi Costa Esperanza, I see the Maria on the corner, thinking of ways to make it better. And I looked up in the skies, hoping for days of paradise. Yeah. Home and go, mama chula, a home, Maria, Maria. And she reminds me of West Side Story, growing up in Spanish Harlem. She living a life just like a movie star. Oh, Maria, Maria. She fell in love in East LA to the sounds of the guitar, yeah. Played by Andre Walker. Now we had a good time doing that because we don't speak Spanish, but I was speaking Spanish then because I took one of my students. Can y'all believe that? A Hillsborough County student taught me the Spanish, to speak Spanish so I could sing this song. So, because I always love this song. And I say, see, the teacher can be taught too. And it's like, they were so happy to teach me. And they laughed because of the way I would pronounce some of the words and everything. But it was funny. Now, I just want to introduce the guys to you in the band. We have Dale Horton over here on bass. Okay? Born and raised in Tampa, Florida. Can you believe it? West Tampa Projects. I remember when I was a high school student, Dale was a little junior high school. He was a junior high school kid, and we used to go over. Kitty is a relative to Dale. Am I telling the truth? Yeah, because we used to go over there into Dale's house, and he was a little kid, and he kind of followed us around. And now look at him now, playing bass now. And he's been all over. I've been all over the world with Dale, playing with Lucky Peterson, and we had a great time, And so he also played with Joe Simon, who also went off into the church, as they were talking about earlier about the musicians. And everybody remember Joe Simon, right? R&B singer. Well, Dale was a bass player, and right next to him we have Marvin Singletary from Tampa, Florida, born and raised. I've known him all my life. Can you believe that? Can y'all believe we the same age? I look way older than him, but we the same age, and we grew up basically all Central Park Village to all the way to Ponce Leon Projects, the College Hill Projects, you name it. Okay, and then you have Mr. John Dixon right here. John is originally, you from Alabama, right? But by Syracuse? Rochester. He said Rochester. He claims Rochester, but he's been around a lot of places. And Dash also, all three of these individuals played with Joe Simon at one time. And they were the musicians that were on the road with Joe Simon. So, I got some guys I'm blessed to be playing with, some dignitaries up here. Okay? And now everybody know me. I already told you about me. But anyway, this last song, thank you so much. We're going to do is a song written by me. It's on my CD. And like I said before, y'all please go out and get it. And you're going to hear this. The name of the song is Blues I Want to Hear. So we're going to go right on into it, and we're going to see if we can get everybody to get up and enjoy themselves on this song here. You don't have to just sit there. And I know you enjoy the music because you're clapping and you're being nice. But if you feel it, get on up and get into it, okay? Sookie. Okay. The time is here, and this will be the year. The sun is shining so bright and clear. No time for worry, no time for fear. I got music in my ears, and blues is what I wanna hear. Whoa, whoa, music in my ears, yeah. Blues is what I hear. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna hear. The sun goes down, the night begins, the moon shining bright, lighting up the night. Cool winds are blowing, it's everywhere. I got music in my ears, and blues is what I wanna hear. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Music in my ears, yeah. Blues is what I hear. Whoa, 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 whoa. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna hear. The morning comes, the blues begin. Been online searching for friends. All day long I hear a song. I got music in my ears and blues is what I wanna hear. Whoa, 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 music in my ears, yeah, 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 yeah. Blues is what I hear. Whoa, 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 whoa. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna hear. Just the way I wanna hear. Whoa, 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 music in my ear, yeah, 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 yeah. Blues is what I hear. Whoa, 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 whoa. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna hear. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna hear. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna hear. Blues is playing clear, just the way I wanna. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Don't forget, if you haven't had a chance to complete your survey, please do so and leave them with someone in the back of the room. We will see you all on October 6th.